Have you experienced the awesome power of the Panasonic Real 3DO system? Obviously.
Presenting 3DO, the most advanced home gaming system in the universe. It's time to put away your toys.
3DO from Panasonic, Gold Star, and Creative Labs. A new low price and free games.
Mind-blowing graphics of Panasonic Real 3DO.
3DO.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 3DO Experience, the 3DO Retrospective Podcast, where we talk about all things 3DO, the company, the console, and everything in between. I am Bill, and this is Threk. How you doing, Threk?
Oh, Bill, I'm doing stuff, doing people. I can't say that. How are you?
I'm doing great. I didn't work yesterday because we had no power at work. It was wonderful. I got to go into work for 2 hours, sat around, and then got sent home.
Work? What's that?
Yeah. It's a concept.
Yeah, it's a really terrible concept. Nobody should do it.
If only.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, things are all right over here. Doom: The Dark Ages came out last week. I have now completed it. And I actually I'm only missing like 2 achievements, but I have no desire to go get them. So yeah, I finished it. I will be writing a blog about that soon, so stay tuned to the Superpod blogs. It'll probably be a few days because I want to do a nice review, like what I did for Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I want to do something of that nature. So yeah, look forward to that, I guess. Then I can finally get back to Expedition 33, so I can finally get that game done. Nice. And then start working on my or continue my Sleeping Dogs playthrough, which has been fantastic. So yeah, lots of gaming these days. That's all I fucking do.
I wish I had time to game.
Yeah, I have too much time, but that's another problem in and of itself.
I have too many hobbies. That's my problem.
Just have no hobbies like me, and you'll be fine. Don't do anything else. Or you find hobbies that you can do while you game. Like listen to podcasts, listen to music, watch whatever. You do those while you play. It's perfect. And so then when people ask you about the soundtracks to games, you go, I didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can safely say, I think most people agree with me, the Doom: The Dark Ages soundtrack is not as good as the last 2. But
yeah,
it's hard to follow Mick Gordon because what he did on 16 and particularly Eternal was so fucking good.
He basically created a new music genre.
I would argue he made gent mainstream.
Yeah, that's basically like, because before that it was like kind of a thing that was sort of being created, but like,
well, Gent had been around for a few years at that point, but it was like this weird underground thing. And then Mick Gordon attached it to Doom, which was perfect fit, and everybody fucking vibed to it. And then it, caused a bit of a surgence in that genre of metal, which was great. And then Eternal, I think, was an even better soundtrack to an even better game. But then, of course, all of the bullshit with the fallout with Bethesda happens. And that, was not a good situation for anybody involved. No. And so with Doom: The Dark Ages, I forget who did the soundtrack, but I've listened to some of it by itself as well as while I'm playing the game. And it's fine. It's not bad by any means, but it's a tough act to follow. It really is,
I've heard it's like very similar to like when Konami took Akira Yokomono off of the Silent Hill series.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because I know the guy that got to replace him for Downpour and Book of Memories was the guy that did the Dexter music from the TV series.
Mm-hmm.
And from what everyone's like opinion was, they were like, he did a really good job, but it just wasn't. It was one of those he had to follow like perfection. So it was like,
yeah, because Akira also, I think a lot of his success in the Silent Hill games isn't even so much the music, but just the overall sound design. So I think he had a hand in that as well. And like if you play Silent Hill 2, like the sound design of that whole game is kind of impeccable, really. And I think that's down to him, beyond just the really memorable tunes and all that good stuff. So, and I think Mick Gordon did a bit of that stuff as well. Like I've watched, I think it was an interview with him where he talked about like Doom Eternal. He was trying to pull in a lot of stuff from Doom 2's soundtrack, and it absolutely is there. Like the main menu theme of Eternal is basically the same one as Doom 2. It's in there. Like you could tell he had a respect for the series and wanted to keep that going, but also add the new stuff to it, and it was phenomenal. Whereas the Dark Ages soundtrack just sounds like some guys who heard the other two and were like, we'll do something similar, but not the same. And it's fine. It's some of it cops from Doom 64, like the more kind of atmospheric stuff, which I think is an interesting choice. But yeah. But I'll go into it more. It's not the Doom 3 soundtrack, which just sounds like Opeth or something.
Yeah,
which is great. I still need to play Doom 3.
Doom has I think one of the most consistent soundtracks from beginning to end of a franchise ever.
Oh yeah, I don't think there is a bad Doom soundtrack. I really don't.
32X maybe just because it sounds like farts, but
I'm just talking about just the main entries themselves, not specific chords. We don't have to go there. I'm just saying the base game Doom soundtrack, Doom 2, 64, 3, and then the modern trilogy. It's they're all good. Even Dark Ages, it's good. It has some moments that I like, but even the it's just PS1 not as memorable.
Even the PS1 port of Doom has its own unique soundtrack, which is pretty good.
That's cool. Yeah. A 3DO Doom, that soundtrack.
I hate the fact that it's the best part of the game, but I can't like it anymore because the fucking creators are creepy. That's
fair. So it is what it is. Who knows? Maybe after this, I'll go play all those new Wolfenstein games because I've barely touched them. So.
It's worth. I mean, you liked Indiana Jones, and that's
oh yeah. In fact, actually, funnily enough, I booted back up Great Circle because I may be doing a podcast about it in the future. So I was like, oh, let me go back and do all. I was gonna do cleanup work and get all the achievements and do all the DLC. DLC's not out yet. My guess is they'll be announcing it in June. But I was like, hey, let me go back and do some cleanup work and get all the achievements for it. And I've been playing it again, and I still love that game. It still holds up. It was just a game that just clicked with me. Something about this first person just exploring around, putting on disguises, finding random shit, there's something about Great Circle that just really clicked in my brain. So, and a lot of people compared it to, I think it was Chronicles of Riddick. So if Chronicles of Riddick is similar, then I'll eventually play that and probably love it too.
I've heard those are really good licensed games.
I have one of them for Xbox. So the original Xbox. I have it. I just haven't played it yet.
Yeah. Now Machine Games is they're one of the best new devs out. Well, they're not really new. They've been around for a decade, but they're one of the better FPS developers these days.
And them cranking out some good stuff. I mean, weirdly enough, the shooting in Great Circle isn't fantastic, like the gunplay, but it's not really the focus of the game at all. So occasionally you'll have to shoot a gun, but it feels it's in the spirit of Indiana Jones, where he doesn't really shoot a gun that often, but when he does, it's almost like necessity, and it feels like a desperate kind of a vibe, but it works really well. So yeah, great game. If you haven't played Great Circle, y'all should. I wrote a review about it. You should go back and read it because I was very positive, and I'm still positive about that game. But anyway, speaking of new stuff, we got to talk about some news before we talk into Army Men. So the first thing, I'm not sure how much news this is, but I just saw it in the Discord. Thanks, Burger. As a quote from Mr. Randy Pitchford about Borderlands. So I guess Borderlands 4 has an $80 price tag, base game. It's happening, folks. It's happening. People said this wouldn't happen. It's happening. But here's a quote. It says, Randy Pitchford tells fans concerned about Borderlands 4 costing $80. Quote, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen.
Sure.
Motherfucking Randy Pitchford. Oh my God. He's not wrong.
No.
But it's what the fuck, dude? Don't say it like that. Good God.
That's like one of those things that you say because you know you're right, and it's gonna piss people off, but at the same time, he's not wrong.
Oh, Pitchford doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't.
He's Randy Pitchford. It is what it is. Though it's like people are going to use that because I guarantee you Borderlands 4 is not going to be the hit that he wants it to be. I really don't think it'll
because wasn't 3 not really super well received either?
I'm not really a Borderlands. I haven't played any Borderlands, so I cannot say. I think Aaron's a big Borderlands fan. And if I remember correctly, in our like disappointing sequels episode, he brought up Borderlands 3. So go back and listen to that if you want to hear his take on it. I think Borderlands 3 dropped in Game Pass not that long ago. I thought about downloading it, but then I heard it was the one people didn't like. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. I don't know anything about Borderlands, and I'm kind of afraid to jump in because I feel like it's just one of those series I missed the boat on.
For me, it's like an FPS really has to hook me to get me interested. Like you need to be like a Wolfenstein or a Doom, like to really, or like
a Titanfall.
Titanfall 2, right there. Like that's a good one.
I'll always show that game.
Or even a Killzone. Like I was a Killzone fan.
I liked Resistance more.
Resistance was really good too, especially Resistance. Resistance 1, good story, jank gameplay because launch title, but 2 and 3 are phenomenal.
Oh yeah. So, I mean, I love me some FPSs. Like it's a case of if somebody gave me like if I can only have like more than one video game genre to play for the rest of my life or something, like, oh, you can only play 2 or 3 different kinds of games. One of them would be FPSs. If it was the only genre, I would probably get sick of it after a while. But anyways, yeah, Borderlands, we'll see. I'm not confident in it at all. Especially when the movie didn't do super well. And I think,
yeah,
I feel like they were hoping the movie would have done super well, and then the game piggybacks off of that success to be even bigger. And because the movie tanked, now the game feels like a distraction. They're like, forget about the movie. Here's the next game.
It was a bad sign when I was in a movie theater and the trailer came on as one of like the pre-movie trailers. It was a bad sign when someone audibly in the crowd just screams, "That looked like shit," after the trailer finished, and I was just like, "Well, that's a sign right there."
You should have found that guy and shook his hand because that's great.
I think we all clapped. We all clapped. We were like, "Yeah."
R/everyone clapped.
Yeah, it was one of those good theater moments where everyone was just like, "Yeah."
I mean, I would have shouted like "preach" or something. So fair enough.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, Borderlands 4, whatever, right? Let's see here. Avowed's director quits Obsidian for Netflix. Just saw this. So the director of Avowed, her name is Carrie Patel. She's been at Obsidian for 12 years and has decided to leave to join Netflix. Their studio's Night School, which I guess is the studio that makes the Oxenfree games. That is really interesting to see. Because like Avowed did really well. Like Obsidian seems to be in a good spot. Outer Worlds 2 is coming out at the end of this year. So it's interesting to see that she would do this, especially with, Netflix kind of seeming to back away from video games. I mean, they've been I think they dropped all the video games from their app and, they closed the Black Mirror interactive thing that they were doing.
Yeah. It's always a really risky move to do something like this. Like I always think like Amy Hennig leaving Naughty Dog at like the peak of like Uncharted success and then like kind of disappearing.
Yeah, well, there's that Marvel Hydra game she's working on, and that got delayed to next year. Thank fucking God, because I had it in my original SuperPod draft, but then I traded it out for I forget what. I think it was Ninja Gaiden or something. So it getting delayed. Oh, thank God.
Because I remember
saved.
She was tied to that like Star Wars game right before the Disney.
1313.
Yeah, and then that whole thing didn't happen. Because I think she was originally involved with the early Uncharted 4 draft before Bruce Straley came in and finished it.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The script is good, so I want to assume that Straley did more than Druckmann did, but that's besides the point.
the only thing I could guess is that when Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog, it was because she could like have her own studio and do her own thing. And to be fair, she now I think has her own studio and does her own thing, but that comes with the caveat of, oh, but there's more to just than making the game. You have to do all of this other crap as well. Yeah. And that's part of why her creative output has slowed like considerably. I'm not sure what other games Carrie has done. They just listed her as the director of Avowed. Hold on, let me hear. Let me go to her Moby Games and see what else she has. Thanks, shout out to Moby Games, by the way.
Great site.
Always coming in hot. Let's see. She also has credits on Outer Worlds and the Pillars of Eternity games.
Oh, nice.
So she's done some decent work at Obsidian. So maybe it's a case of Netflix gave her an offer she couldn't refuse. It's the only thing.
Most likely.
Guess. So I mean, hey, we'll see if it leads to anything good for her. I hope so. Because moving jobs, especially in the video game industry, can be kind of scary, especially with everybody losing their fucking job right now. So it's scary, but who knows? Maybe if it fucks up, she can come back. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Or since Microsoft was laying off like 3% of the people, maybe she was one of them, but was already planning to leave anyway, so it didn't matter.
I mean, if anything, going to Netflix might be a safe place because we've seen with that company, like they can do as much stupid shit as they want and people will still keep signing up for their service.
Well, what's interesting is Night School, like Netflix laid off a bunch of people not that long ago. So I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know. Anyways, let's see what's going on. I saw this and what is this? A new prestige physical game label Editions promises to reinvent what it means to collect games. The label launches today with 3 games, including Thank Goodness You're Here. I just saw this. I was just like, this looks interesting. They're called Editions, is the work of Lost in the Cult, promises to reinvent what it means to collect games. Early titles in the collection will be available limited edition. So it's another like limited run game type thing, but it looks like they're trying to do more of a Criterion collection type of sort of just how it looks, I guess, in the packaging. The 3 games they have are Thank Goodness You're Here, The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. Have you even heard of that game?
No.
I'm looking it up right now. It's considered a folk horror narrative driven adventure. So it's like a 2D kind of a thing. It looks interesting. Looks like it's influenced by, it was developed by Cloak and Dagger. I feel like I know that name. Where do I know that name from? Anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, they're doing a limited edition. And then another one of Immortality. For those of you who don't know, that was one of the best games I've ever played. I praised it very highly when I played it. It was like 2 years ago. I still think about that game pretty frequently, actually. And seeing this limited edition run, even though it's for PS5, I'm like, should I? Let's see. It says each edition, like it has like extra stuff in it. It's only £60, so they're not doing a crazy overprice, which is the one thing I was worried about looking at this. But yeah, kind of it looks interesting. I don't know if it'll amount to much. I might try to see if I go ahead.
I always get a little concerned when they make the statement, we're going to bring back the fun of collecting. I'm like, that usually results in ruining it and making it worse than it already was.
That's fair. If I'm able to get this like physical edition of Immortality, if I'm actually able to get it, I might try to snag it and maybe do a little YouTube video unboxing of it to detail what you get. Who knows? Because I'm a big fan of Immortality, even though I don't have a PS5. But I'll support Sam Barlow. He's the man. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on this. If anybody's interested, let me know. I'll keep an eye. Let's see. Speaking of prestige, Naughty Dog, right? Everybody loves
those guys.
Apparently, Neil Druckmann is working on another unannounced game at Naughty Dog. So we know they're working on Intergalactic, right? Who knows how long it's going to be till that comes out? Whole thing, right? But I guess he was on a podcast recently, and he said he's working on at least 2 projects.
I'm guessing one of them is Last of Us Part 3. Just a thought.
I think you're right. It's not like he's doing another Jak and Daxter.
Well, no, they don't know how to do that. Last time they tried, they made The Last of Us.
I mean, unless they wanted to do some like horrible mutilation of Daxter and have that be like social commentary on how video games are or something. I don't fucking know. Please don't do that.
At this point, just let the series die.
It's been dead forever.
Yeah, but they still they're like hanging around. Like, look, we still have this.
It's like, yeah, but you don't do anything with it. But yeah, it just said that he's working on something else. They have like, other directors and all that. Basically, the way he phrases it as like he's not the one who's like doing everything, not the heavy lifting. He's like they've been hiring other people to handle a lot of the work.
He's co-president now with Evan Wells, I believe.
Yeah, so yeah, he said there's another game that's being worked on at Naughty Dog where I'm more of a producer role. I get to mentor, give feedback. I enjoy all the roles, and I get to jump from one job to another, and it keeps me less bored. So
he might actually be better at that, honestly. Because honestly, his weakest aspect, I think, is his writing.
I would agree with that. As somebody who played through Last of Us 1 and 2, I can agree with that.
Well, I'm pretty sure 1 was mostly written by Bruce Straley because it has a significantly better story.
Yeah, where is Bruce Straley now?
I don't know. I think he retired.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah,
he was starting to cook, but
yeah.
Oh well. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm hearing rumors that there's like some PlayStation show happening relatively soon. So I mean, they kind of need to start talking because there's really nothing, right?
No, not really. It's been like we're still kind of riding off the high of Astrobot right now.
Well, like there's the whole Bungie thing, right? We can jump to it. The whole marathon, like the closed alpha happened. People aren't really too high on it. And then it was discovered that they were plagiarizing art, and people found the plagiarized art. And apparently how they found it was the artist said that he had snuck in a reference to Lost in the art. And then it showed up, and that's how he knew. Which is fucking hilarious that Bungie wouldn't even notice that. That's ridiculous.
Always fucking Lost.
Yeah, on Twitter, their name is N squared at 4NT1R34L, some bullshit leet speak thingy. But yeah, like Bungie got caught, and I'll give Bungie credit. Well, I think they denied it initially, but now they've been like, yeah, sorry, we're gonna scrub it, all this kind of stuff. So that combined with the closed alpha not doing well, and it's like PlayStation again fucking up the live service thing. Like it's been happening continuously now, where there's just like every time they've tried a live service, it's either gotten canceled, shut down super quickly, or just abandoned, like the whole Concord thing, right? Like it's clearly not the right move, and I feel like they're so deep in it that they can't make the pivot, because I think they know they need to fucking pivot because it's not working. Like, yeah, Astrobot was great, but also Astrobot hasn't even sold 3 million copies.
I know, that's sad.
Compare it to like, well, it's more of a niche thing. Like 3D platformers are more of a niche title if you're not Mario. It's just the way that it goes. If you're not Mario or Sonic or like one of the big names, nobody really gives a shit. You know, it's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of things, especially the PlayStation audience who, you know, they have Spider-Man, they have God of War, they have like those kind of games. And a lot of those guys are not going to fucking play Astrobot, even if it's a better game.
Yeah.
They're just not. So it's just, they're in a weird spot right now. You know, like if it wasn't for their hardware selling really, really well, I think people would be genuinely worried about them, but they're not. So
yeah, they kind of just, I don't know. This generation continues to just kind of be weird.
It's just, like, yeah. It's just like, again, I've mentioned it before. It's like we're just slowly reaching that point where like generations don't even matter anymore.
No, because, they really don't.
Because the hardware, they're so incremental upgrades at this point. You know, like I bet you there are some people who bought their PS3 in 2013 and still just play games on it all the fucking time because those releases haven't stopped. I mean, certain big studios have stopped making games for it, but like smaller studios, indie games, retro collections, like those are still getting released for them. So what's the point? So it's just this whole Bungie thing has been really, really bad.
Bungie is like the company where like every time I hear Bungie, I'm always just like, how did they luck their way through the Halo series when apparently they've always been like pain in the asses like this.
Well, let's give Bungie a little bit of credit here. They can make good games.
They can. It's
like,
I'm always amazed.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Halo series, but it's a beloved series for a reason, right? People like those games. The Destiny games did really well. And even the old Marathon, like the original Marathon, people still love it to this day. And it's a case of, I think if Bungie wanted to do a proper reboot of Marathon as like a single player shooter, like give it its Doom 2016 moment, I think it'd probably do really well and people would like it. But are they being told by higher ups, you can't do that? We have to, do the live service thing to get more money out of it. Because there are probably still a lot of people in the industry who the idea of just making an 8 to 10 hour really good single player shooter is like, we can't do that because it's not going to make enough money, right? Especially with how Bungie likes to spend money. That's another thing. They've been known for notoriously spending a lot of money. So, yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully they can weather. I mean, I think Bungie will be fine. They could probably weather the storm, but they're not going to do Destiny 3. At least I don't suspect that.
Nah, I think the Destiny train is ended.
Yeah, I mean, it was around for a long time. It had that 10-year roadmap, and it basically and it fulfilled it.
I played Destiny 1 for a good year when it came out, and I enjoyed that year. I just lost interest after it stopped.
I've never played a Destiny, and at this point, there's really no reason to. You want to know how much I've not played Destiny? For some reason, I always thought it was a third-person shooter, not a first-person. So when I actually saw footage of Destiny, it was not what I thought it was.
It was playing it when it first launched. It was very fun.
Yeah,
it made me realize that style of FPS, like a big open world kind of almost MMO-ish FPS. I was like, yeah, I'm good. This is too much.
That's fair. So who knows? Maybe they'll fix Marathon and it'll be great. But the reception I've been seeing isn't very positive, so we'll see, I guess. But speaking of that, the Firebreak technical test thing happened. I did play it over the weekend with two of the guys from Press B to Cancel. Shout out to Jake and Monk. We had a good time. It was really fun. It works perfectly fine. God damn, is it hard though? Like I technically signed an NDA, so I can't say too much, but it was really fun. But some of the challenge was more based on just swarming you with enemies, but it was a lot of fun. So when the game fully comes out, we'll talk about it then. So let's see. Oh, but yeah, the other Sony thing I saw was Jade Raymond has left Haven Studios. I believe that was a studio that she founded, if I'm not correctly. Like she had worked on some of the Assassin's Creed games and Watch Dogs, and then she kind of formed her own studio. I think it was like, oh yeah, she went to work for Stadia for a bit. Oh, that worked out great, didn't it? But she had formed this team within Sony, and then they had a canceled live service game as well. Jesus Christ.
Stop trying to make live service happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, what was it? Jim Ryan, didn't they say they were going to do a dozen? 12 of them?
Probably.
Or some shit like that. And it's because I guess their thinking was one of them will stick.
God, I miss Kaz Hirai so much. He had some doofy things he said, but my God, at least he was honest. But it looks like she has left, and from what I've seen, or from what I'm gathering, is that she's just had a history of kind of bouncing between Ubisoft, EA, Google, Sony, and just not really having a lot of success outside of Ubisoft, which has got to be frustrating, I bet. But who knows? I think she was a part of the whole Concord thing as well. So crazy shit. So we'll see what's going on with that later. So speaking of crazy people, Hideo Kojima, everybody's favorite, right? Everyone's favorite crazy narcissist that we love.
Yeah, that he gets a pass, but if somebody else did, it would be awful. We all know Death Stranding 2 is coming out soon, right? It's on its world tour right now. So it's being shown in all these other places. I had forgotten about this, but he announced another game. So there's Death Stranding 2, right? There's OD, the game he's doing with Microsoft. And then he announced a completely new IP called, I do not know how to say this, Physint? 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 I want to say pheasant, but that's probably not right. And I totally forgot he announced it, and it was like, it's basically, it was described as like a cinematic stealth action thing or whatever. And it's like, oh, Metal Gear Solid, but not calling it Metal Gear Solid. And I guess he like talked about it and said, oh, it might be like another 5-6 years till I get to it. Because then he also talked about like he might actually finally direct a movie. But it's like he's always talked about wanting to do movies. And yet
what do you mean? He already made a movie. It's called Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, how'd that turn out? But like,
Great.
He's always talked about wanting to do movies, and yet he still hasn't done one, like to this day. And it says to me, it's like, is he like too afraid to do it? Has like the not the right script come across? Or is it just like the film industry are just like, no?
I wonder if he like, it kind of like looks at like the Final Fantasy Spirits Within debacle, and he's always kind of like, do I want to do this? Like,
I don't think it would be that bad. I genuinely don't, because I think Kojima has a love and a respect for cinema, or at least has a better understanding of it than Sakaguchi. Thank you. So I think it would turn out all right, but it's like, I still haven't played Death Stranding, but like what I've heard of that game, I'm just
you either like it or hate it.
But I'm trying to imagine that as a movie. And I just think a lot of film people who aren't video game people would probably look down their nose at it a little bit and then watch it and then go like, what the fuck did I just watch? You know what I mean? They'd be so confused. I don't know. I don't know why it's taken him so long to like make a movie.
Kojima is a very interesting guy. Like, it's crazy how like he could literally like he can release anything and people will just buy it because it's Kojima. Like, yeah. And I mean, I love pretty much everything he's made. Like, I won't say Death Stranding's a great game, but I enjoyed playing it for what it was, even though it's like 100% walking in a desert most of the time.
It's on my list. I mean, I bought it when it came to Xbox and it was like $20. I bought it because I'm like, why not? And that's actually, when I play through Death Stranding, that's also something else I will write a review for, because like I'll probably take extensive notes as I'm playing, because I want to like document my experience playing Death Stranding, because I think it would be worthy of it, because I'm not the biggest Kojima guy in the world. So, and I've heard so much divisive things about that game. I want to see it for myself. And I want to document the experience. however long it takes me to play that game, you know, I will deal with it. But will it be this year? Will it be next year? I have no idea, but I'll do it eventually. It is on my list.
I mean, at some point I really want to replay like Metal Gear Solid 4, because I legitimately do love that game, even if it is a bit of a mess. But because I want to actually write a review on it, but I have to play it again. Yeah, because there's so much to that game. Like fucking Mount Snakemore happens at one point. Like, I
mean, I've jumped on doing the whole Metal Gear Solid thing with Chris over an auto console, but I mean, as far as I know, the first episode still isn't even out. And the recording of the second one has been delayed, kind of beyond our circumstances, which is again fine for the reasons why. It's perfectly fine. But it's one of those things where I'm just like, is this thing just not going to happen? Like, is it just going to just dissipate? And then it's just like, I'm stuck here, not playing these games again. I don't know. That's something I don't know. But we shall see. So, but I'd completely forgotten a Death Stranding film is actually in production right now. A24 is doing it, because of course they are. Oh. To what extent Kojima is working on it, I don't know. I don't think he's directing it. So apparently he's been offered directing roles before. So who fucking knows? But of course people asked him about it. And speaking of Kojima, that's where the USB stick comes into play. So I didn't read this whole story. I just saw it and was just like, of fucking course, right? But for those who don't know, Hideo Kojima says he has reevaluated his priorities since turning 60, and he got severely ill during the pandemic. I think he got COVID really bad. So, and has even left a will containing game ideas for staff to use even after his death. So, and that includes a USB stick. Like, really? He says, revalues priorities, has spent his years. He said he considered directing a film. This part's funny. Kojima said he wanted to direct a film, but his friends who are film directors told him not to. which says to me, Guillermo del Toro probably sees how he is, and he's like, "You're not cut out for directing him."
Yeah,
which
that's
is
like
funny.
It's probably a case of like he respects him, but he's like, "Don't do it."
Yeah, like games are more what you're about, pal. You know, I mean, they're completely different disciplines, but just the idea. Here's the quote: "I gave a USB stick with all my ideas on it to my personal assistant, kind of like a will. Perhaps they could continue to make things after I'm gone at Kojima Productions. This is a fear for me. What happens at Kojima Productions after I'm gone? I don't want them to just manage our existing IP." Like, I get that, but let's be honest. It takes a lot of full of yourself syndrome to take a USB stick and fill it with your own ideas, with the idea that these are so good, they need to be made after my death. You know, like,
yeah,
like I hope to God that after he dies, the contents of that USB stick get released to the world, and then we can actually read it, and then we can all laugh about it. Because I guarantee you, there are some stupid batshit ideas in there that are just really fucking stupid, and you could clearly tell he made some of them while he was severely sick with COVID.
Yeah, but then there's also probably going to be some absolute like gems in there as well.
Oh, of course. Like, I rag on Kojima all the time because it's easy, but it's like, yeah, he's had many great ideas over the years, and he's proven it time and time again that he has of all the crazy Japanese devs that there are, and there's quite a few of them, he's the most competent at making a game compared to like Suda, Yoko Taro, whoever else, right? Like the more kind of weird nutso guys. Like, he's the most competent at like game design and making a game that's like really fun for people to play. You know, I love Suda games, but whether or not they're a fun game to play is a coin flip. And and Yoko Taro, I've not played Drakengard, but I know it's history. I know it's legacy, and there's a reason Platinum Games came in and made Nier Automata. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So
they let him make the wacky story, and they did everything else.
Yeah, he's George Lucas. He's the ideas guy. Let him do the ideas. We'll do the grunt work. But I think Kojima can do the grunt work. So
yeah.
It's just it takes a lot of ego to think that your ideas are so special they need to be preserved on a USB stick for everybody to read after you die.
It is perfectly in character for Kojima.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's the same guy that made himself a rescuable character in fucking Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. So
I didn't know that.
I think it's either Peace Walker. It's one of the PSP ones, but you could like straight up rescue Kojima. He's one.
Yeah, I've heard he made a cameo in one of the Metal Gear games, but yeah. We're fucking ridiculous. What a character. I think it's because he, despite the like narcissism, he has this kind of playful, jovial kind of vibe about him, and I think people latch on to that. Do you know what I mean? That he just seems to be this like kind of like happy-go-lucky guy who just happens to be a creative genius, and it's like,
I mean, the reception wise aside, he's never made an unsuccessful game, as far as I know.
I'd have to look. I'm trying to think. Maybe some of his earlier games didn't do super well. Well, there's that. Well, I think the first game he made was like that, like Penguin thing, or whatever. That was like pre-Metal Gear. But yeah, and I believe Snatcher and Policenauts didn't do super well. True. Like they did okay, but they didn't, blow anybody's brains. And I've played Policenauts, so I can at least talk about that. So yeah, but I get it. Like he's kind of earned his place in gaming history. like the phenomenon of Kojima will be interesting to think about. And if the Metal Gear project actually does continue on, I'm hoping part of that is I get to learn what the big deal with Kojima is and kind of become more understanding of the fandom that surrounds him.
The utter insanity.
Exactly. Let's see what else we got here. There's a bit of Nintendo stuff. I guess we'll do the Nintendo stuff. Nintendo filed a trademark for Hotel Dusk.
Cool. Oh,
so
yay.
Yeah, Hotel Dusk. For those who don't know, it's this really cool DS game that is like an adventure novel that has kind of this pencil sketching, kind of like an art style. You play it. You play the DS on the side like it's a storybook, and you're a detective and you're exploring this hotel. I didn't beat it. I put a few hours into it. I would really like to sit down and play through the whole thing, but it's a really, really cool game. One of the like highlights of the DS library, at least for me, like as far as like hidden gems are concerned.
Tragically, we did not get the sequel. Still buttered about that.
Well, hey, maybe this is the sequel.
I hope so. I mean, Europe got it, so maybe I should just import a European copy.
There you go. Well, the company that made it is called Sing.
Yeah.
And they did the Another Code games, and that got that collection not that long ago, if anybody remembers. So who knows? Maybe Hotel Dusk, both of them are coming back, and I'll probably buy that because that'd be fun to play.
I gotta sit down and play Hotel Dusk again. It was such a interesting game.
Yeah, I would like to play it all the way through. That'd be fun. It could be a good 3D own episode. And also, so the whole switch to like the updates, right? Where like some of them are paid or some of them are not or whatever. Nintendo unveiled 12 games that are getting free updates. So the list is Clubhouse Games, 51 Worldwide Classics, ARMS, Big Brain Academy, Captain Toad.
That's a good one.
Game Builder Garage, New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe, 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Mario Odyssey, Echoes of Wisdom, Link's Awakening. Like all these games are getting like visual, like, you know, like they're saying like, oh, they're getting optimized display, high resolutions, HDR support, blah, 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 blah. Right. But the big one for a lot of people, Scarlet and Violet. They're going to make these games playable, by God.
Okay. I mean, the performance was bad, but I just didn't think the games were particularly good.
It's one of like, there's only 2 games in this whole list that one of the things they're listed in the update is frame rate.
Well,
they can get it to double digits now.
I don't know. My experience with Scarlet and Violet is watching Alex play it and her Pokemon falling off a cliff during a battle.
Well, they've even showed some screenshots of Scarlet and Violet running on Switch 2, and it does look better. Like genuinely does look better. We'll see how it translates as far as performance goes because it really needs it. But will it hit 30? That's the big question. Can it hit 30 consistently? So I mean, day one, someone will find out and they'll let us know. And that's coming up soon, isn't it?
I'm amazed they're making
Switch 2's launching in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 fucking weeks.
I won't be getting one anytime soon.
Me either, pal. Me either. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I'm glad they're actually. I think they made that free. Because I know you're about to ask that. I think they're making it free because it was such a controversy when it came out that they're like, we can't get away with paying for that. We just can't.
To be honest, though, it's Pokemon. They could because Pokemon fans are psychos.
They are, but
they would buy it.
But I'm trying to give Nintendo a credit here for doing something actually nice for the fans. So I'm trying to be nice here.
Sure. So, well, I'm more thinking like game because my inner dislike of Game Freak is probably pushing through there.
That's fair. But then you play Drill Dozer again and go, oh, they can make good games.
I'll play Sword and Shield and realize there was potential there that they just gave up on.
Yeah. Or you could play Tembo the Badass Elephant. Not bad. Not a bad game from them.
Or I could remember that I tried to play Pocket Jockey and liked it for like an hour.
That's a good game. I like that game.
It is. I'm just not a huge card guy.
That's fair. That's fair. The other Nintendo thing I have is they're attending Gamescom this year, which is
Cool.
the only reason it's notable is because they skipped last year. But then there was all the rumors about Switch 2 at that last year. So my guess is we'll probably see more from them. Will they announce anything major? Probably not. But
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows? E3's dead, so anything could happen at any time.
Yep.
And oh yeah, the title of the Mario movie got leaked.
Did it?
Yeah. What do you think it's called?
Couldn't tell you.
They're calling it Super Mario World. Why? I have no idea. Is Yoshi in the first one?
The Yoshi egg appears towards the end.
Oh, okay. So the whole thing will be like Mario World when he gets Yoshi. That'll be the whole thing. We'll probably see Baby Bowser, Bowser Jr. will do the whole thing. Sure. Let's see. And the last thing Nintendo I have is Red Dead Redemption 2 is reportedly coming to the Switch too. Because it's also getting PS5 and Series X upgrades, they Take-Two says. And that's going to coincide with a port of that game to Switch 2, which sounds fine to me. People still fucking go goo goo gaga over Red Dead Redemption 2, and I still do not understand it to this day. Maybe I need to play it again because I played it when it came out. But my thought was it was good, but it's not like, I don't know if you've seen it, but there are just some people who are just like, just in awe of Red Dead Redemption 2, that it's like video gaming peaked with Red Dead Redemption 2 to some of these people. And I do not get it.
I liked what I played of it, but my entire thoughts on it were I like the first one better.
Same. And I like, yeah, it looks really good. It's surprisingly realistic in a lot of unnecessary ways, horse testicles. But I just thought the story is the game is just super slow paced. And for being an open world game, it's very restrictive on what you can do in the missions, which is annoying. And I just think that, like, a lot of people like Arthur Morgan, but I just think John Marston's a more interesting character. Especially when the stuff that happens to Arthur Morgan, like some of the pacing in his character development is just all over the place. I don't know. Something about Red Dead 2 just never sat well with me. I don't know what it is, but maybe I should play it again.
Yeah.
It's
fun.
Yeah. Let's see. The SNK CEO is stepping down after City of the Wolves did not do well. So, Fatal Fury, was it City of the Wolves? Is that what I said? Yeah, City of the Wolves. That had a pretty hyped launch, if I remember correctly. There are ads everywhere for it. And it came out. It didn't review well. Sorry, Aaron. And it didn't sell well either. And I think SNK were putting a little bit too much in this game being a hit. Yeah. And it wasn't a hit at all. I don't know what the fuck they were expecting. Because it's not like SNK is one of those like they're a known brand, but they're not to the level of like Capcom with Street Fighter or like NetherRealm with Mortal Kombat. Like they're not on that level at all. So don't know what they were expecting. And I guess the CEO is stepping down because of that, because the game didn't do super well. And my guess is maybe SNK is in a weird spot right now. And they're like, they put a lot of money into this game and it did not really hit any sort of sales expectations that they had for it. So I don't know. They should do what I would like, and that is a big old remake of Neo Turf Masters. Like do a modern remake of that. Cool. That would sell 30 million copies because it would be me buying it 30 million times.
Honestly, I'd just be happy if they just made like a big collection. I mean, they've been doing pretty good with the collections of like old games, but I just love like a giant Neo Geo collection.
I mean, they've been doing that for years, though. They're constantly doing Neo Geo collections.
True.
So, I don't know. Maybe they'll just make another Metal Slug and everything will be fine. Who knows?
Give us another King of Fighters. I'll buy it.
Sure. Let's see. Last bits of news are all Square related. Good old Square Enix. Well, it's funny because like Expedition 33 has been doing really well, and a lot of people are trying to be like, oh, look, Square, look, haha, like they're trying to dunk on Square because this game's doing really well. which I think is a little unfair. Like, I get it. Square's kind of dumb, but like, the success of this indie game should not be at the detriment of like a big studio. Just my opinion. Maybe they can learn from it. Who knows? Like apparently, but the two things I have is that they are making an original game with Japan's TBS television. So I guess they're making like a new project with them. They didn't really specify on what it is or what kind of game it's going to be, but they said it's part of their new strategy, which is something that they're doing going forward. They're calling it quality over quantity. So they've said they're in a 3-year reboot plan where they are basically re-looking at their business and the release schedule and the games that they've been putting out. And instead of just constantly chucking out games to the rate where people go, oh, that came out, they're going to dial it back a little bit and focus on the more important IPs and make sure that those games are really good instead of just making as many games as possible that are of iffy quality. They said this plan should end March 2027, and it'll be a position to release major titles, mainly in key IP, on a consistent basis. So I don't know if this means they're going to go dark for the next couple years. That I can't say, or like what this means precisely. Like, I think it's smart of them to realize, hey, instead of just churning out all these games, it's almost the Capcom thing. For a couple years, they just made games of like their key IPs that were doing well and just focus on those and tried to get those to kind of regain sort of brand loyalty or, people liking them so that they could start expanding again. So maybe that's what Square's planning to do. I don't know. Because we know they're working on part 3 of Final Fantasy VII. We know Dragon Quest 12 is in the works. The 1 and 2 remake is supposed to come out at some point this year. Kingdom Hearts 4 is still in development. So
a Chrono Trigger remake got sort of announced.
Well, apparently that was not Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
Like Yuji Horii was at a thing and somebody said, oh, he was talking Chrono Trigger. But then later on, someone's like, no, that got mistranslated. He wasn't talking about Chrono Trigger. So.
Okay. So we'll wait and see on that one.
Chrono Trigger doesn't really need a remake, though. At the end of the day, it really doesn't.
No, it does need a re-release, though.
Just take the Steam version, put it on consoles, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. The Steam version's perfectly fine now. So, but we'll see what this means for Square, because I still have faith in them, but I know like Rebirth didn't sell the way they wanted it to. 16 didn't sell the way they wanted it to. I mean, they always complain about sales numbers, but you would assume with like Final Fantasy that those games consistently sell well. And you look at the sales figures for those games and they're not great. They're fine, but they're not great. So they're probably just trying to think about how they're going to be going forward. I know the 3 remake did really well as far as sales goes. Well, they're happy with that.
The Enix half of Square always tends to do better than the Square half of Square. So
yeah. Like I know whenever Dragon Quest 12 comes out, it'll do really well.
Yeah.
But from what I remember, they're expecting 12 to be its Final Fantasy VII moment where it breaks out into like the mainstream and becomes like the big crossover game for the series.
Wasn't that 11?
11, from what I heard, 11 was close, but it wasn't quite there.
I think before that they said 8 was that. I think they keep moving the goalpost on that a little bit.
I don't know. But from what I know, I think Dragon Quest 11 was the best-selling game in the series. I mean, I bought 3 copies of it, so it should be successful.
I bought 2, anyways.
Well, I bought it on Switch, and then I bought it digitally on Xbox, and then physically on Xbox because I'm a freak. So let me get the sales figures for 11 real quick. By December of 2024, it has shipped over 7 million. That's pretty fucking good. But I think they're envisioning 12 to be like a 10 million plus. I think that's what they want. How they get there, that I can't say. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about what 12 is and isn't going to be, but we haven't seen anything beyond the logo. They announced it way too early. And even Yuji Horii said he doesn't want to talk about it yet. My guess is we'll see a trailer for it the latest end of next year. By the end of 26, we will have seen Dragon Quest 12.
It's probably also going to be hyped up because it's probably going to be some of Akira Toriyama's final works.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see how much he actually worked on that game. I'm pretty sure. God, what's the composer's name?
He's always the one I forget.
But well, he's a piece of shit, anyways. But like, my guess is he probably didn't work much on that game. I mean, he barely worked on 11, so there probably won't be much of him. But he does have like an apprentice. I can't remember their name, but basically, he had somebody to be his replacement. So, and their work was pretty solid from what I remember from looking them up. So, I think the music will be fine. The absence of Toriyama is going to be the more interesting thing with Dragon Quest, where it's going to go. And as long as Yuji Horii is alive, they're still going to be making them. So, so we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this whole restructuring that Square is going through, maybe it'll be good for them, because they did cancel that mobile game, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. Not that I think anybody cared, but you know,
I mean, Eric probably cared. That's about it.
Sorry, Eric. Eric. I don't give a shit. You couldn't pay me to give a shit. But anyways, that's all the news that I had. So it was a lot. It was a lot again. I'm sorry.
Only thing I have news wise, this is more of just a little announcement, is World of Games just released another new 3DO game, The Adventures of Captain J. Both me and Threk have ordered.
Does J stand for jacking off?
We'll have to wait and see.
I hope so.
So we've both ordered copies of that. We will be covering it eventually down the line.
Yes.
So
World of Games, if you're listening, send us review copies of 3DO games. We'll promote your shit. Okay, do it. We'll be in touch.
This is only the second game they've done, because the only other one they've done is BioFury. We did not the same devs though. BioFury was a Retro Love Letter. This is a different studio, so I'll have to
we'll talk about that in the future when we get it. Mine is shipped. I have no idea when it's coming. I haven't looked at the tracking. It gets here when it gets here.
Mine's supposed to be here tomorrow, apparently.
Mine might show up tomorrow too, and if so, we'll probably cover it very shortly. So yeah, but yeah, we should talk to World of Games and be like, hey, if you're gonna keep publishing random 3DO games, we'll promote your shit. Send us the game. But I'm not gonna be nice. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Even though I did but BioFury was really good.
Yeah. The only other thing is we got new Nintendo music. So
yeah. What is it this time? Let me see.
Older.
Come on. I'm looking. Oh, Kid Icarus.
Yep. Both the NES and the disc system version. So that's fun.
I don't even know what the difference is.
Probably different sound channels.
No. That's the track I know. Sounds the same.
Yeah.
That was the disc system version. You thought it was the NES version, didn't you?
Oh, well. I'm sure there's some difference, but it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, I could go in and pick out the differences, but, I don't care.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're finally here talking about Army Men 3D. What a cover, man. That cover screams Blockbuster.
It gets even better because on the inside, you get a tan Army Man getting utterly destroyed.
Okay, that's fucking sick, actually.
It actually goes from the disc to
Can you show the full thing of the manual, like the fold out?
Oh, actually, if you look closely, the disc actually it lines up with the disc.
Yeah. We should get that as art and frame it on the wall.
Yeah, that's fun.
That is fun. So this was the third Army Men game?
This game is the third official Army Men game. It came out after the two original PC titles, but before Toys in Space. It is a pseudo remake of Army Men 1 for the PC. And when I say remake, I mean it is the same story, basic idea, but it's instead of being a strategy game, it is a third-person shooter.
Yes.
They actually included the cutscenes from the original PC game but their quality of the video files they ripped is somehow like 100 times worse.
Well, a PC is stronger than a PlayStation.
True. It's just really funny. The two cutscenes they ripped from the game, you look at them and you just go, wow, what a downgrade.
I do admire the kind of corny nature of the cutscenes where they're like, oh, the Tan Menace is coming. You'll be enlisted to kill them, kid, or whatever.
It's funny too, because like this is when the series was still sort of serious, because they hadn't gone full wacky yet by this point.
I mean, was anybody going to take these games seriously?
No, but
unless you're like a 6-year-old.
We hadn't got like the Sarge's Heroes timeline yet, so like we hadn't got the full-on characters and stuff. Like Sarge is in this game, like you play as Sarge, but this game is still more.
Yeah, it says Sarge, but you look at him and you're like, that's not Sarge.
It's the Sarge that becomes the main character of the World War series later on.
Okay. Though it's interesting you bring up Sarge's Heroes because this game feels like a dry run for the Sarge's Heroes games.
Yeah, this game to me is like. It is like the definition of like, I see what they were going for. It just didn't age well.
Yeah, this was when I was playing this, I didn't beat it, by the way, but I got through all the desert areas. And I was thinking, yeah, this is like if Sarge's Heroes was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I had a awful time playing this game. Like a genuinely awful time.
It's rougher than I remember. Because when I boot, this fun fact, this is my original copy from like when I was a kid. You can tell
how much do they pay for that? $20?
I think 40. Because fun fact, this actually is one of the best selling games in the series.
I could believe that. There was another game that for some reason this fucking game reminded me of. I don't know why, because it's not even really that comparable. But do you remember the Conflict Desert Storm games?
I do.
For some reason, I was playing this game and I was like, this reminds me of the first Conflict Desert Storm. I have no idea why, because they're not really that similar. I mean, they're both third-person like shooters, but Conflict is more about like squad-based tactical stuff, and it kind of fails at that. Whereas this is just more of like a solo run and gun kind of game, and it fails at that too. So, yeah. I don't know. Maybe failure was just on my mind.
The thing with this game is it's a third-person shooter. You get a decent selection of weaponry. Like the actual, I'll give it credit. You get a decent amount of stuff to play around with.
Kind of, but I found really the most useful thing was just your basic assault rifle.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, on price charting, complete, this game is $8.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Most of the Army Men games are about there.
I don't think any of them have appreciated in value.
No, not at all. Maybe a boxed copy of like the PC games, just because those have some nostalgia value, but
maybe.
Yes. So what's funny is going through this game, like the way it starts out is like you get this like boot camp that you can do, and it's essentially a glorified tutorial on how to play the game.
I was confused during the whole thing because I was just kind of running around, and it would be like, you're at the motor pool, you're at the firing range or whatever, but the game never told you like, oh, this is how you shoot or this is how you drive. You just kind of kept going.
Yeah,
like there's no text box to tell you what to do. There's no voiceover. So I was just kind of roaming around going, well, what the fuck do I do?
This is
and then you get to like a live fire section, and then shit's going haywire, and you're like, oh God, what the fuck do I do? I don't know. And then I killed some of them, but I don't know. It wasn't a good omen.
This is a tutorial that modern gamers dream of, where it doesn't hold your hand at all, and it basically says you're on your own, kid.
No, retro gamers. That's what retro gamers like, when games don't tell them shit, even though games kind of did tell them shit, just not directly in their face.
Yeah, like the way the tutorial works is like you get a couple like there's like little like crates that have like text boxes that pop up. It's kind of like the little question mark.
I do like how the text like floats and flies around in your face.
Yeah,
like reconnaissance. Grenades.
I'll give this game credit. It doesn't look amazing. It looks pretty average for PS1 standards.
It looks pretty bad, especially for a game that came out in 1999. Same year as what? Was that Final Fantasy? which Final Fantasy was 99? Was that 9?
8.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, compared to 8. 8 looks like pretty decent on PS1 compared to this shit.
8 is a pretty phenomenal looking game, all things considered.
Looking.
No comment.
Not now.
I will say though, stylistically, I do think Army Men 3D is stylized in a way that's kind of pleasant.
I can't agree with that. To me, it looks really plain and dull. It just looks like any other shooter to me.
I like some of the little goofier aspects of it.
It has little hints of it, but like compare it to say like Sarge's Heroes, which came out not long after, and that to me is just this game, but with the charm and the style of the series that we know later. Like this almost feels like they're getting the engine right before they make the proper game.
Yeah, you can also tell in the single player story, anyways, like they had not really fully committed to the whole "these are toys" bit yet, because most of the levels feel like the real world, but you're just playing as plastic toys. Like,
yeah, I mean that was fine, I guess. Like if the level design was good, but I really don't think the level design was very good either.
No,
because you'll drop into a level and you'll just get like a little text box about something that was happening, and it's kind of vague. And then you just kind of roam around shooting tan guys or getting into tanks or whatever. And, you know, it can be fun here and there. But like half the time, there was one level in particular, I got to the evac with the helicopter, but I couldn't get in. And I was like, why? I couldn't figure it out. And then I like looked at the map and I was like, oh, there's still like some people I have to shoot or whatever. And I roamed around, killed a couple guys, came back, and I guess I did enough. You know, like the game doesn't give you really solid objectives. Like you get a map, which is nice. But as far as any sort of like, go here, do this thing, like it doesn't really give you any of that. Like even the radio tower level, like where it tells you to like blow up the radio tower, basically. But it gives you a tank. And my first thought was, oh, I have to drive the tank up to shoot it. But there's no way to get the tank to the radio tower. And I was like, well, then what else do I use? Should I just try like a grenade? And I think I chucked a grenade and it worked, but
yeah. This game is interesting in a lot of ways. I will say one thing about this game that I absolutely despise is the music.
What music?
There's like a 1 minute looped clip, which is ripped straight from the original PC game, which was not a 1 minute looped clip. It's the most irritating thing, because it just, when you do hear music, it just goes on over and over ad nauseum, and you're just like, okay, they didn't try here, clearly.
See, I was playing this game while I was in Jelly's stream the other day, so I wasn't paying attention to any of the music. And then I was having issues with the emulator where it was like emulating the CD read speed, and it was giving me shit for some reason. So then things like the audio just completely, like it turned just a loud beep for some fucking reason. So I had to mute it because it was like the game ran just fine. It was just acting up for some weird reason. I messed with the setting and then restarted, and it was fine after that. But that was just really strange. And yeah, it was weird where it's like, I don't know if this was the emulator, but like the speed of the game felt completely off. Like
it's sometimes a sluggish game.
Like sometimes it'd be slow, but other times it'd be like really fucking fast. But that could have just been an emulator thing. That I'm not sure.
Might be the emulator. It's possible. It's a pretty consistent kind of like, definitely not 30. It's probably like 20, maybe, like frames per second. It's a very sluggish kind of like game. It plays competent enough. One thing about this game is it's kind of frustratingly difficult at points for no reason.
At points? Like this is the first game in a while where I turned on the invincibility code because I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Because I just kept dying over and over again. Like at first I was like, hey, let me see if I can do these, stages normally, right? And then I did a couple of them just fine. But then there was one where I just kept dying because like the map also tries to indicate where enemies are, but it's not really detailed in that kind of regard. So I'll like walk up and then a guy with a turret just like right here, can't see him, and then he just completely kills my ammo or my life, basically. And then there's no checkpointing at all. There is no checkpoint system in any of these levels. To be fair, most of the levels are pretty short, but no checkpointing at all was frustrating. So I just said, fuck this, I'll just save state. and see if I can save scum my way through the game, which was getting easier. But then there was one point where I got stuck where there was this tank. It's the part where you get a tank.
Yeah.
And then you try to shoot the other tank. But like, I could not for the life of me aim the fucking missile at the tank. I got it right once, and then I could never do it again. Because what's interesting is when you go into like the aim down the sights or whatever, you can like adjust the height of the cannon shot, which is okay. But like, it's not very fine at all. And most of the time it was either too low and hit the ground or too high and soar above their head. And when a tank is shooting at you at the same time, it's really hard to get those fine adjustments. So I would just blow up the tank, and then I just went, fuck this. I'll just turn on invincibility and just blast my way through it. And that's how I got through the rest of the desert stages. And after that, I was like, I don't want to play this game anymore. And I stopped playing this game. So like I wanted to beat it, but I was like, no, I'm not going to force myself to do this.
Yeah. So I'm not going to lie, revisiting this, I was kind of like, I was trying to remember why I liked this game as a kid. Because I did
the novelty, maybe.
So I figured it out. This game has multiplayer.
Oh yeah, it does have a 2-player mode.
Me and Alex played the shit out of the multiplayer of this game back in the day.
Is it like a deathmatch kind of thing?
Capture the flag.
Okay.
And the way it works is kind of cool. You start, and this is also where the you see a bit of the roots of what would come to be with the Sarge's Heroes games here, because this is where like the fun levels come in. Because there's like one which is like a child's bedroom. There's one that's like a kitchen, and like then you get like the standard generic ones. Like I think one's a lava field. Like it's just stupid shit.
That's cool.
The way it works is you start the mission where you pick the map, and then you get to, obviously you control your one character, one person's green, one person's tan. You get to lay out, you get like a select number of other soldiers you can place throughout the map. So you get to lay them out strategically where you want them to go. And then you start the match, and essentially it's capture the flag, and you have to get the other player's flag and then get back to your flag before yours gets captured and vice versa. It still plays like shit. It's not amazing by any means, but it when you get two people and the computer isn't being a cheating bastard, it's fun. Like it's just stupid fun.
I can see this game being a fun multiplayer type of deal for sure.
Yeah, because I remember me and Alex used to play this all the time. Like I would always laugh because Alex would not use strategy at all when placing her army men around the board to just put them in random spots. Then she'd always be like, "Why is your flag always guarded?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like magic.
It's always magic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see the multiplayer being sort of the more fun aspect, because as it stands with the single player stuff, I just did not have a good time. It was kind of bland and generic to begin with, and then couple that with a really frustrating difficulty. I mean, to be fair, every enemy, like normal enemy, dies in one shot, but it's just you can just tell this game really did not have the thought and care that it kind of needed to really stand out and be something kind of special or fun.
You can tell it was the Army Men team's first 3D game as well.
Yeah, because I don't think this game had analog support, like DualShock support.
Not true analog support.
So like on the emulator, or what's nice in RetroArch, you can sort of trick the game into thinking your left stick is the D-pad. So I did that so I could play the game with an analog stick, and it felt so much better. But even then, it was still kind of, and with that analog stick, and when I was playing it, it reminded me a little bit of, say, Sarge's Heroes 1 on the Dreamcast, because it has a similar type of control scheme, even down to the lack of like a crosshair or any sort of like, there is like an auto aim, but it's like, I don't get the programming math behind it.
It's very Shadow the Hedgehog-esque with the auto aim at times.
I'll take your word on it. I still haven't played that game, but It's just, I remember Sarge's Heroes not being this annoying.
It's very tankish, like the tank. It feels tanky at times. It's not like Bubsy 3D levels of tank control, but it's definitely it's not. It's more like Croc levels of tank control, I guess you would say.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, it also has like you can aim down to get a better shot, which I use quite a bit. There's like a barrel roll type of move, which actually I liked that. You can kind of hide behind cover, and like it's definitely trying.
There's
to have some like a good move set at the player's disposal, but it just never really comes together.
There are definitely ideas here.
Yeah.
And you can tell 3DO was still trying by this point. They just didn't really know exactly what they wanted to do yet.
Yeah, it's just I think it comes down to like a lack of experience in this kind of game, because my assumption is these are like the same guys who did the tactics games.
Yes, so by this point it was the 2 tactical games on PC, and then this. Then they proceeded to make Toys in Space before they split the series in 2 essentially. They did the Sarge's Heroes story-based series, which was Sarge's Heroes and Air Attack, and then they did a continuation of basically what 3D was with the World War games on PlayStation, which were this kind of refined, although I feel like if rather than making 4 games, they should have just made one really good game.
Yeah, but that seemed to be kind of the issue with the Army Men series.
Yeah.
With 3DO and the Army Men series in general, where if they like condensed all these to like 4 or 5 games that were all like really good, I think people would think more fondly of this series.
If they put the amount of effort they put into Air Attack into the entire series, it would have probably been a different thing. But to be fair though, I still think Air Attack was just like a flash in the pan, like they happened to get right. So.
Yeah. People seem to be really fond of Air Attack, so I still haven't played it. I'll play it for the show in the future. I don't want to play it before that. So.
Like not counting RTS, which is just legitimately a well-made game.
Oh yeah,
3DO didn't make it, so obvious reasons there. But Air Attack is like the one 3DO game that you look at reception-wise, and it just generally has good reception. Like, because Sarge's Heroes, as much as those games are beloved to people, they don't have great reception. Like when you look at
no. From what I remember, the Sarge's Heroes games, I see why people are fond of them, because they definitely have like charm and memorable characters and things like that.
They're better games than this, but they're actually rated lower than this game.
Which is, it had to come down to like the novelty of it. That would be my guess.
Because 3D, for what it is, got decent reviews. Like it has a 67.67 on game rankings.
That's a D, man. That's not even a C.
I mean, for an Army Men game, that's not bad. IGN gave it a 7 out of 10.
That means it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
It was the 9th best-selling game of 1999 April.
What the hell else came out in April 99 for the PlayStation?
I have no idea. It has some accolades. It did sell well enough that it led to this game sold well enough that it kind of led to the series becoming the cash cow franchise 3D had for a while there.
It's weird to think this was the game that did that.
I think it was just right time, right place, because by all metrics, their later stuff is better.
Oh, for sure. Like, I did not expect coming out of this game to be like, I think I preferred Sarge's War. When I started playing it, I didn't think I would say that, but now we are where we are now, and I'm like, and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, Sarge's War was the better game. I was able to finish it. So what does that say? I mean, they're both not RTS, but it's gonna be tough for RTS to get topped.
Yeah, well, I mean, when RTS is, it's hard with RTS because RTS was made by a competent developer. So
yeah, like a pretty damn good developer, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see if Air Attack does eclipse it, because I have no idea, or to see how the rest of the series goes. So, I have a suspicious feeling that there's going to be one random game in here that we're not thinking of. We're going to play it and go, holy shit, that was kind of fucking good. I think we're going to have a hidden gem in here somewhere. Which one? No idea. But I think there's a hidden gem. I think there's a hidden gem in here.
Watch it be fucking Portal Runner.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see when we get there. So,
it's going to be either Portal Runner or Green Rogue, like the two most random Army Men games ever.
Oh god! If Green Rogue turns out to be awesome, it's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, I think going forward with Army Men, we're probably going to cover the Sarge's Heroes in terms of the timeline split. We're probably going to cover the Sarge's Heroes stuff before we tackle World War because, well, let's face it, it's not much more than this going on there.
Well, we're still doing one of them with Remember 64, right?
Yes, I believe the two Sarge's Heroes games we were going to cover with them. So I think actually next time maybe we'll cover Air Attack. Finally,
yeah. Either Air Attack or I don't know. Maybe we'll do just another random one like Army Men Advance or something. We'll figure it out. It out.
We'll see. Yeah. Other than that, though, like any other reviews I saw were basically the same old. Like the general consensus this game had back in the day was like kind of a whopping. It's okay. Like it's a game.
That's being generous.
Well, for 99, I guess like 99 people were a lot more friendly. These days,
yeah, that's fair, I guess.
These days, it got a pass for being kind of the first. Nowadays, though, you look back on, you go, yeah, this was definitely the first.
Yeah, this didn't really hit, or this didn't, maintain its relevancy. But I don't really think it was ever going to maintain that relevancy, I guess.
No, I don't think Army Men was ever a series destined for long-term success. Like
not at all.
Other than Air Attack, literally most of these games are not fondly remembered. So
yeah, which is a shame because I think it could have been like a really neat little series of quality games, but they weren't worried about quality back then.
No, they were just worried about keeping the lights on.
Yeah, and they needed little green men to do it.
Yeah, that and Might and Magic, but they kind of ruined that series too.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll bring Steve on for Might and Magic.
Yeah, I mean, we owe him an episode anyways. So
I think that's the one he would do. That'd be
nice.
So
for must play, stay away. Yeah, probably gonna say stay away from this one, unless you have a friend to play multiplayer with. Then I say okay, but
yeah, absolutely stay away. I did not enjoy this game at all, and I don't think I'll ever play it again. There was nothing here. Like RTS, I'll definitely play again here and there. Sarge's War, probably not, but I didn't hate it overall. This one is like the first one. I was like, this sucks. This is a bad game. So, it'll be amazing to see what is worse than this, because I think there will be a game that gets below this.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the post 3DO games potentially, but in terms of the 3DO ones, you never know. We might find something there.
We'll find out.
I will say the last time I played this, like legitimately tried to play this, was like 2008. So
Jesus,
my nostalgia goggles were pretty strong when I booted this up, and I realized really fast that the reason I liked this game so much wasn't the actual main game; it was the multiplayer. So the GoldenEye effect, essentially.
To be fair, I have a little bit of that for the Sarge's Heroes games because I had them on the N64 and I played them in like the late 2000s. And even back then, I knew they weren't amazing, but I was like, there's something here. I'm not sure, but I never got super far in them. So when we eventually cover those, I'll finally get to see what the deal is with those.
See, the reason I still hype up Air Attack is because I have played Air Attack recently, like within at least a year, and I still had fun playing it when I played it recently. So that's why I kind of have some hope for that one.
The most I've seen is I watched a YouTube video of like all the Army Men games, and that popped up, and I looked at it and I went, "That looks competently made." So there we go.
Yeah.
We'll see how that translates. But again, I won't play it until we play it for the show.
So we'll wait on that. But in the meantime, next time we're actually going to have a guest on. We're going to be returning to a horror. We're going to be covering Alone in the Dark 2.
You talk about horror.
Yeah. you know what's funny is you'd think the sequel would improve on things, but wait and see on that.
Yeah, we'll see on that one. I haven't played it yet, but
I have not played it in 4 years.
Our guest has been playing it, and he's told me a little bit.
Oh boy.
Well, we'll just wait till next week when our guest comes in. He's a good friend.
I'm gonna play it on the Saturn, so we'll have some different variety here.
I still have my PC version from GOG, but I heard if you put it on Steam as like a non-Steam game, you can potentially use like Steam input to get controller support. Because one of my issues with Alone in the Dark on PC was it didn't have any controller support. So if I'm able to sort of finesse getting controller support for this game, I may get a little bit further. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Nice. But yeah, so look forward to that next time. But yeah, so once again, guys, thank you for joining us on the 3DO Experience. You can find the 3DO Experience on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out on the Superpod Network. That's superpodnetwork.com. Awesome site where you can find a whole bunch of different shows, videos, blogs. Quick shout out to Tommy. Video Game Ride Along made a return today. Probably a one-off, but he did do a new episode. So
I listened to it. It was about the Polygon giant bomb mess. So but I remember listening to it and I was like, man, I would much prefer just listening to Tommy commentate his drive than talk about video game news.
Yeah.
No offense, Tommy. I love your video game journalism stuff, but just hearing him go like, oh, that guy's not here. What's he doing here? Oh, did I just make a U-turn? I don't know what's going on. Like that was so much more entertaining.
Yeah.
Just shows where my head's at.
I kind of do hope that he continues Ride Along as like an occasional thing. Every now and then he'll just put out an episode.
Yeah, Tommy, if you're listening, do it once in a while.
Yeah.
Once in a while.
Don't kill it forever. Just every now and then.
Yeah, just keep the door. You don't have to shut the door, but maybe just keep it like cracked.
Yeah, but yeah, other than that, guys, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Bye-bye.
If you're not playing on a 3DO system, what are you playing with?